Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. This is the ultimate Euro 2021, 2020. Who cares what it's called? It's got the wrong name. I'm angry about it. This is our preview show. I'm StattoJoe, and I'm joined by this guy,
That's
Luke
me.
Sherwin.
Yo, did you know that Euro 2020 and the World Cup 2022 are the same thing? Is that not how the joke goes? 10 plus 10, 11 plus 11.
Oh,
Anyway,
you're
there
right.
you go. There you go.
You're right.
It's great to be back. Excited to predict some Euros and excited to see who we end up picking as our winners.
Yes, the format for this show, everybody. We're doing something a little bit different today. So, UEFA have produced a very lovely tournament predictor game, we can call it. I don't know what it's called, but essentially what it means is me and Luke are going to spend the next hour basically going through how we think this tournament is going to go, right down from the placements in groups the whole way to the end until we pick a winner. I do not know what Luke thinks. Luke does not know what I think. We're probably going to argue a lot. But if you
I
yourself want to get involved, you
I
can get your
also don't
comments in the
know.
chat.
I also don't know what I think, Joe. So that's probably a big issue as well.
um, so this is going to be a great one. I'm really looking forward to this. A bit more relaxed, a bit less newsy, and a bit more fun. Just for
Wow.
a lovely Sunday night. Um, I've just knocked something off the desk. So
That's how chaotic this stream is going to
right,
be. All the
it's
predictions are going to
so
happen. If you
it's
want to
all
join
gone to
us,
pot.
drop a message in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on all the different games. Be interactive. Tell us what you think. Andy loves fun. You
Yes,
love.
Andy.
Yeah. Welcome, Andy.
Okay.
Thanks for joining. It's nice that you're probably below me right now and listening. But yeah, it should be a good one. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So do get in touch. Joe, how do we start?
Right. I have got it up on the screen. We're going to start from the start, of course, with what is actually a very tough group. Group A: Switzerland, Turkey, Wales, and Italy. Italy have an unbelievable unbeaten record. Um, with 20, they've gone 23 games unbeaten. Turkey are doing pretty well themselves. I'm just looking up here when they last lost. Bear with you fill some time when I look this up.
Okay, so we have Turkey who have done well in World Cup qualifying so far, kind of out of nowhere, but absolutely blitzed Netherlands in qualifying. So we're
Mm.
looking strong as a team, a good unit. Yilmaz up top looks a really solid player. Seems to, like a fine wine, get better with age. Wales are always an interesting one. Nobody expected them to do well at Euro 2016, and yet they did. They did very
Mm.
well. They came out of the blocks. Hal Robson Canny became a cult hero and everything like that. And then Switzerland are an interesting one. They're nobody's friends. They're nobody's enemies. They're neutral Switzerland.
So true.
Uh, and they have Shaqiri, as always, will excite. He'll probably try a few bicycle kicks. He'll score from 40 yards. He's an entertainer. That's cool. So it's a good group. It's probably one of the more interesting groups
Mhm.
because I don't think there's this clear cut a first and second, but there could be. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I think apart from Group F, this is probably the most difficult group to predict because
Yeah,
I think picking picking someone last in this group is nearly the most difficult thing.
yeah.
Um, because I think they're all decent sides. I think Italy are obviously the best. I think personally, I would put Italy first. Would you put Italy first in the group?
Well, see, it's a weird one because Italy, since they won the World Cup 2006, which seems a really long time ago, Italy haven't reached those heights. It's been
Mm.
15 years now, and they haven't looked the same since. They've played some decent enough football, but generally they're accepted as a really defensive unit, a team
Mm.
that can defend well together, as the Serie A is in general, but don't necessarily know too much going forward. But under Roberto Mancini, they seem to have changed slightly. There's been a slight switch. He's changed some personnel. He's brought in a little bit more excitement, and he's got, I think, one of the best win percentages as an Italy manager ever at 70%, which is really high. That's a very good turnaround. So Italy are a decent team. Obviously, we saw them quite recently as Northern Ireland played them, and they looked a good team in the first half. But we did hold our own in the second half,
Yep.
and we at the moment are playing really bad football.
Mhm.
So I think Italy were happy to shut up shop in that game. But if somebody was to go out early, like a Turkey, and blitz an early goal, who knows what might happen to the Italian team? But they haven't conceded a lot. They're doing well, and it is hard to argue against Italy finishing top of the group.
I'll put them top of the group then. I think that's going to be. There we go, locked in. We've locked it in.
Wow.
This is where it gets really tough
I
already.
should say, Joe, to be fair as well, all three of Italy's games are in Rome.
Yep.
That's a big factor. It's a really strange factor, something for Euro 2021, which we've never really seen before. Is games are happening all across Europe, and countless teams are finding themselves playing all their matches in front of home crowds. We
Yep.
see Italy all three in Rome, Denmark see all three in Copenhagen, England see all theirs in London. I don't know whether that'll affect too much, but it probably will. It probably will have some sort of effect if there's fans, especially.
Mhm.
So Italy with three home games, effectively, they should finish okay. After that, I think it gets a bit more difficult. But if you had to go out to win, Joe, who would you pick?
My initial reaction is actually the same as Andy's here in chat. So
Okay.
Andy said Italy first, Turkey second, Switzerland third, and Wales fourth, and he's confident about that. My initial reaction was to put Turkey second, Switzerland third, Wales fourth. I don't think Wales have anywhere near the team that they had at 2016. I don't think Gareth Bale is anywhere near the same player that he was, and they do rely on him a lot. Would you disagree with me on that? Would you want different placings
No,
there?
probably not. I think Wales coming bottom is almost inevitable unless they pull off some form of magic.
Mm,
And they just don't look the same. They've got older players now playing. They've got some good youth in there, but it's just not the same. The fact that Joe Allen still plays for them, and he's been rubbish for us
mm,
for quite a while now,
yeah.
it's a sad indictment for what's happening with them. After that, Turkey are riding high on confidence. Um, Zeki Silik, or however you pronounce his name, at fullback, just won the league with Lille alongside Yilmaz as well.
Mhm.
The two of them will be full of confidence and will hopefully lead that team into potential second place. I think Switzerland are the type of team who are always decent, but never really outstanding.
Yeah, agreed.
So I would probably go for Turkey next and then Switzerland.
Sweet, we agree on that. Very good. Group A done. We've predicted officially Italy first, Turkey second, Switzerland third, and Wales fourth. And now we move on to Group B, which consists of Russia, Belgium, Denmark, and Finland. Now, interestingly, as you pointed out, Luke, Denmark play all of their games in Copenhagen. I think that could have an effect. Also, Denmark have a really reasonable squad. I think people don't realize just how
Yeah.
good that Denmark squad is.
Denmark have a really good record in World Cup qualifying so far.
Hmm.
I think they've scored 14, conceded none, or something like that in
Hmm.
their first three games, something along those lines. It is a ridiculous stat. They absolutely smacked one of the teams in their group to inflate the stats. But Denmark have been really good, and playing all three games in Copenhagen is massive. Russia played two of their games in St. Petersburg. Then the third one is in Copenhagen, and then
Hmm.
Belgium and Finland play in St. Petersburg as well. Um, so it'll be an interesting one because you have two home teams. Um, I think it's hard to bet against Belgium finishing top of this group, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I think Belgium are probably one of the. So just a bit of a spoiler. I think this is one of the closest Euros in terms of I don't think you can pick really a massive favourite. I think there's many teams in there, Belgium being one of them. So I think
Yeah,
I would agree with you. I think straight away we can put Belgium top of the group. I think unless there's some sort of disaster, Belgium are only finishing
yeah.
top.
Belgium are ranked number one. You know,
Yep,
that's that's pretty good.
exactly.
They have a good team. Aging defense potentially, you could argue. Alderweireld, Vermaelen, Vertonghen, all relatively old now.
Hmm.
Alderweireld slightly younger, but has been poor for Tottenham this season. Boyata and Denier are decent, but I do think their weakness is potentially their defence. Although,
Yep.
as Jose Font has shown with Lidl this season, age and pace aren't all that this game is made out to be.
Hmm.
Forwards again, I feel like if you looked at this if at Euro 2016, you would see a more impressive forward line. But Batshuayi and Benteke both playing for Crystal Palace. You know, it doesn't sound as impressive. Mertens is getting on, although the real bright spark for them is Lukaku, who's had an
Yep.
incredible season. Eden Hazard will hopefully find some form, and then their midfield is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. Like De
It
Bruyne,
is
Tielemans,
the
uh,
whole lot.
just
Even Castagne from
yeah,
Leicester, you know, Thorgan Hazard, Munir, Dennis Pratt, Axel Witsel. There's just a lot of really, really good players in there.
yeah.
So you would back them to do well. I feel like Finland coming last is probably
Yep.
inevitable as well.
I'm happy to do that straight away as well, without really much debate either. To be honest with you.
Finland are one of those teams that kind of qualified because there's more teams in this tournament.
Yep.
You know, like they're fine. They they didn't do well to qualify in qualifying in 2016. Have done a lot better here. Finished second in their group, very far behind Italy. So they're fine. Timu Pukki is a great player. He is a great player, but I don't think he can fire them through.
Andy
And they said
says he's put a few Belgian players in his fantasy team, hoping to get a few points in. Easy win, right? I think it's probably a safe bet, Andy, to be perfectly honest. You have reminded me, I'll put up a post tomorrow. We're going to do our own fantasy league for the Euros. So if you want to get involved with that, even you podcast listeners, there'll be a link on the Facebook page. You can come join our fantasy group. It's very easy to join. You can join multiple leagues, so it's not like you're committing to one group. It's just you get ranked in a group. So I'll get that set up tomorrow night at some stage. Um, but yeah, I think Belgian players are going to be a safe bet, especially with that group. I think apart from Group C is a pretty awful group. But with the group they're in, Belgian players certainly for group stages will be a safe bet, Andy, for sure. And then we have the Russia Denmark debate. Um, as you said, look, Denmark have started really strongly in World Cup qualifying. They smacked Moldova 8-0. That was what you were saying about the inflated numbers. I just checked there. They have scored 14, conceded none. You were quite right, sir.
look at that.
Um,
I know my Danes.
and you certainly do. And they do have a far better squad than I think people realise. Some of the players in that Denmark team are not to be laughed at. Kasper Schmeichel in nets. You've got Christian Eriksen, Poulsen up front. You know, I could name more, but I'll let you do it because you are the Danish correspondent of the StattoJoe podcast.
Yes, I am. That's true. Casper Dolberg is a good player up top. Now plays for
Mm,
Nice. Was young once, isn't so much now. Martin Braithwaite,
mm,
um, has looked good for Barca when he's played, and has also looked good. I love Jonas Vint for Copenhagen. He's a really, really solid player. I've seen him play live in Copenhagen. He's a
nice.
good player. So I like him a lot. Robert Skov is kind of similar as well. Was playing at Copenhagen, not at Hoffenheim. Uh, Emil Højbjerg in there with Thomas Delaney.
Right enough.
Two
Flip.
two really good holding midfielders with Christian Eriksen slightly in front is how I expect them to line up in a
Mm,
4-2-3-1. You would expect to see Eriksen alongside the likes of a Poulsen who plays kind of wide striker sometimes,
mm.
and maybe a Jonas Vint up top or Kasper Dolberg. We'll just have to wait and see. But I would back them over Russia, especially with the confidence they've got. Russia are in a weird situation. They don't really have a very good defense. Their star centre back retired. Their keeper Akinfeev has retired as well, and
Mm.
so at the back they're a wee bit weak. Up top, you know they've got Juba, who is is decent and was the focal point of their team in qualifying. But they concede a lot. They do.
Yeah.
I think they only kept 2 clean sheets in qualifying, which isn't great. So I think I'd back Denmark. I think Russia will probably draw a couple of games, maybe lose one to Belgium. But yeah, I think Denmark finishing second is a safer bet. Denmark
Yep.
against Belgium is probably a better debate. If Belgium were to slip up somewhere against Denmark, even who knows, it could be an interesting one. But we'll
There's
just
there-
have to
there's
wait and see.
there's definitely a shock there. Like I forgot about Højbjerg and Delaney. There's like that Denmark squad are better than people give them credit for, and I think that I think they'll definitely reach the last 16. It just depends who they end up facing, which is what's so exciting about this predictor. We won't be 100% sure who they face until we get to that, so that'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see a bit later on.
Exactly, and we should give a shout out as well to their defense because they've got Andres Christensen, who's looked
Hmm.
good for Chelsea at times. They've
Yep,
got Westergaard, who at the start of this season for Southampton was scoring goals
class.
for fun.
Yep.
Simon Kjær for AC Milan has had a good season as well.
Hmm.
Good centre backs, even Daniel Vaz for Valencia. Valencia haven't been great, but he's a good player.
Hmm.
So yeah, Denmark are my home favourites. I love
Yep.
them, and I hope they do really well.
Great. They could be one of the underdog stories of the tournament. And there's even Mikey, welcome in. He just wants to say hello. There you go.
Speaking
Even
specifically to you there, Jim.
yes, yes, speaking specifically to me there, Mikey. Hope you're well, mate. Group C, we move on to now. Now, this is for
A
me the
crap
least
group.
interesting group.
Yeah,
Pardon?
crap. It's a crap group.
Awful.
This is the worst hands down. Like this is the group I would want Northern Ireland to get in if we had a qualified, but
If
we wouldn't have.
if if I was to choose any games to tactically miss, it
Yeah,
would be the games in this group. I would maybe watch Netherlands Austria. That might be a decent game. But
yeah.
apart from that, can I do a quick, very safe North Macedonia bottom of the group?
No, I don't think you
What?
can because North Macedonia come into this with a lot more to play for than Ukraine or Austria. I think they have more in them and they qualified and that was a big deal for them. They won't
Yeah,
necessarily be a good team, but I don't think it's as I think they might finish bottom, but I don't think it's as quick as that. I
no
think you've got
way.
to give them some credit. The manager's done okay. He's been in charge for 6 years now, which is grand. 4 wins, 2 draws in 10 games. Isn't great. 4 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses. Isn't great. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I totally. But I think they've just got something about them. Do you know? I think they're fun. I think they're fun, and
Mm,
I just think Ukraine have less about them.
interesting. Interesting, because I know North Macedonia beat Germany, right? That was
So
very
true.
recently. I was looking through all the results, and most of the teams they've played have been like Georgia, Kosovo, Kazakhstan. Like they're not playing the better teams. Let's put it that way.
You'd only play
Um,
what's in front of you, Joe. Just
yeah,
because
I
we're on
know,
it, the Nations League is
but
set up specifically that way that they play average teams.
but for me, there's just like Ukraine are better than North Macedonia in my opinion. There's no way. I know the same thing happened with Northern Ireland in 2016. Everybody had Northern Ireland probably not get through the group, and the Ukraine game was the one that was targeted, and we won that game, and we went on
You,
to the last 16. Um,
yeah. I think North Macedonia will absolutely pivot and they'll come third.
so you want me to put them? Do you want me to put them third?
I do want you to put them third.
Okay.
I think watching Ukraine the other night against Northern Ireland again, it's really helpful that we've played some of these teams
Yep.
recently that it
True.
gives us a good insight. Ukraine looked so dull. Like we we let teams play football at the
Yeah.
moment. We let people have the ball, and they didn't really do much. They scored from what was terrible defending from us, and then they had a goal disallowed at the end. But other than that, against a against a Northern Ireland team that had Josh McGuinness and Niall McGinn playing, like we were dumb, uh,
Mm.
and they didn't look great. I think they still have nightmares about Gareth McCauley. Ukraine, I think they cry themselves to sleep thinking about that beautiful man. Um, I personally think Ukraine are going to come bottom.
Okay, I'm gonna ask chat as well. Um, if they think Ukraine or North Macedonia will finish bottom of the group, we'll see what responses we get, if any. But I'll leave it at third, and I'll put Ukraine fourth for now.
Yes, give mad yourself. Give mad yourself.
Because I'm a people pleaser.
But then
Now,
even here, Netherlands have not been good.
no, they're not. I was going to say this isn't an easy Netherlands first, Austria second. Um,
So do you
Mikey
think?
says
Are you trying to
Mikey
say
says
here
Ukraine don't have Shevchenko to drag them through. So
exactly?
true.
They've got Yarmolenko, who's terrible. I do you know what? Having rethought about it, North Macedonia are going top. They're top of the group. They're going through. They're going to win the Euros. Yo. They're going to win the Euros. North Macedonia
Oh
and Dev will carry them to glory.
wow!
Alioski will do absolute bits down the right hand side.
We are Malenko is a step over Merchant. That's true.
He is a step over Merchant. You're absolutely right. The Netherlands are weird because they they've been bad, I would say, in World Cup qualifying.
Yep,
They haven't
that's
played
kind.
well.
Yep.
Their team lacks a lot. I think Wijnaldum loves to play for the Netherlands. Wijnaldum does really well
Yeah.
in the lovely orange of the Netherlands. They've got Frankie de Jong to play alongside him and Donny van der Beek. Like that's a really nice midfield. In front of that, though, if Memphis Depay doesn't show up, no one does. Who's there to
Yep.
score goals? Who's there to score goals for the Netherlands if Memphis Depay's not? Luke de Jong, he's not going to do it. You know
Yep.
all about that, Joe.
I do. Sadly.
Like Malin is young. Quincy Promes so inconsistent. Anyone who's gone to play in Russia, he's that type of player. Quincy Promes that had promise at one
Hey,
stage. He had
nice.
promise at one stage, but he's like a Malcolm who went from Barca, and then even a Hulk who everyone thought Hulk was going to be unbelievable, and then he ended up playing in Russia and never really having the career. Promise is that type of player. Oh, I really struggle to think that Netherlands are going to win. I could see Netherlands just drawing every game.
Mikey makes a fair point. Something I wanted to bring up is that Netherlands have some quality players though, and
They
they
do.
do. The problem is that they've never clicked as a team properly for me. Like they do have an outstanding team, and they're underperforming by a clear mile. A lot of those teams. I mean, Van Dijk won't be playing, but there's a lot of players in that Dutch team, and they really should be doing far better than they actually are. Um, I don't know. I'm at a loss here. Like Austria aren't exactly amazing either. They've got some good players, but they're not exactly like quality. It's difficult for me. It's a toss up. It's a heads and tails. I think.
Yeah, I I'm starting to doubt everything that we've discussed. Like Austria are not a good team at all. They played England the other night, didn't they? And they looked okay. Um, yeah,
I'm so at a loss. I think I would still put Netherlands top and
yeah,
Austria second, but like Netherlands top on like 4 or 5 points.
yeah.
Like I don't even know if they get 2 wins.
No,
It'll be interesting to see. They might show up, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. Netherlands top, Austria second, North Macedonia third, and Ukraine fourth. Happy?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we'll keep it like this, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's gonna be Netherlands top, North Macedonia second,
Oh, you're obsessed.
Ukraine third, and Austria fourth. I've changed my
Okay,
mind on everything. Austria finishing bottom.
we'll leave it like that, and we'll laugh at how wrong we are at the end of
Yeah,
the Euros. Now we move on to the more interesting groups again. Thank goodness.
thank the Lord.
Um, so Group D is a couple of very spicy ties in there.
It does.
The group is Scotland, England, Croatia, Czech Republic. Two massive matches for England. England, Scotland's always huge. Scotland always show up. Always tough game. But then we also have the replay of the World Cup semi-final between England and Croatia.
Yeah,
Um, I think this group is going to be pretty tight, and I think
yeah.
Scotland are. I think Scotland might finish third.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. You're absolutely
Um,
right in saying like that weird history teacher. There's some interesting ties going on here, and I think England I think England should come about it or come out of it top. I think Croatia should never have beaten England in the World Cup.
yep,
They shouldn't have.
agreed.
That was entirely England's fault. And then Croatia went on to put on a similar type of performance in the final and got
Yep,
absolutely destroyed. Um,
smashed.
Croatia are an okay team, but I think England have such depth, especially playing all their games at Wembley. They love a game at Wembley. They really
Oh,
do. And they've got the players on show for England this Euro campaign are really exciting. I think Southgate's picked. I think he's picked a good squad, all things
yeah,
considered. There's
great
very
squad.
few changes I would make. You know, Lingard will probably come in for Trent now anyway. So
Yep.
that argument that people are complaining that he's not in, he'll probably come in. And Mikey says there, especially at right back, you're right. Although, do you know there's a few maybe who could have come in? You know, Cal Walker Peters, Armand
Mm.
Bissaka, you know, a few more out there. But yeah, I think England will probably end up finishing top. And then I've probably got Croatia next, and then Scotland, and then Czech Republic. I think, yeah, it's a hard one. What do you make of the other three teams, too?
I don't think Czech Republic are to be laughed at, but also I don't think they're anywhere near the team that they used to be. Um, they'd always go to a tournament and give a good performance, and do you remember when like Thomas Rosicky played for them and all that type of thing? But let's
Yeah,
put it this way: Italy just beat Czech Republic 4-0 there at the weekend. Wales beat them 1-0 before. And Wales aren't a great team.
no,
Um, but they drew with Belgium in qualifying 1-1. So, Czech Republic aren't, scared of winning. But then again, in the Nations League, they played Scotland twice. Scotland beat them both times. Scotland beat them 2-1 away from home and 1-0 at home. For me, I think Scotland will beat Czech Republic again. Actually, let me look up quickly where that game is, because that might have an impact on how that game goes. But
Scotland,
I
Czech
do agree
Republic.
with. Pardon?
Scotland, Czech Republic's in
Yeah,
Glasgow.
it's in Glasgow, right? I think Scotland won that game then. If it's
Yeah,
in Glasgow, I think they win that
probably
game.
should give a shout out to Czech Republic. They do have team of the year quality players in Vladimir Kufal, um, and Thomas Suchek. Some solid play. I debated whether or not Suchek deserved to get in. Um, they do have some talent, but hard to see them doing much. I would agree. They're okay. They don't really have Matej Vidra up front is not gonna do bits. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mikey. West Ham is full of Czech Republic players. I think some of them they'll do well in games for about 10 minutes. In spells they'll do it. Thanks, Mikey. But I can't see them doing too much. Although in saying that, Scotland are rubbish.
Scotland have got some good results recently, though. I know they're rubbish, but they're going to be entirely carried by Andy Robertson and Scott McTominay. But
And Kieran Tierney, thank you very much.
so apologies, and Shea Adams are potentially up front. There are a few decent players in that squad. I do think that I do think they'll be Czech Republic, and I think they will finish third. I think really England should finish top, and if they don't finish top, that's a poor performance from them. Croatia still are solid enough that they can get a result over Scotland and Czech Republic. It could be a game that Scotland target for a draw.
Yeah.
But I do think that Scotland could get a draw against England too, actually. But they would need to be playing their absolute socks off in that game to get that kind of result.
They would. They really would.
That game for me is going to be apart from the big games of Group F. England Scotland's one of those games that I'm so excited to watch. I think it's going to be an absolute spectacle. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it should be a good one, to be fair. I'm excited. I'm excited for this group in general. I don't think there's any real dull games in this group because even the Czech Republic Scotland game, Scotland will have something to play for there. Czech Republic Croatia will be an interesting game just to see how it pans out. But I do think that's probably how the group ends up.
Yep. Now we move on to Group E, which actually isn't a bad group either. Poland, Spain, Sweden, Slovakia. Now, that's a group that Northern Ireland really should have been in if we hadn't have pooed the bed against Slovakia, which is just gotten. I think it would have been. I think we wouldn't. I don't think we would have finished third in that group. But
We
I
would have
think
finished top. You're absolutely right, sure.
exactly. But I think that in this group we've got. Had Zlatan been playing, there would have been that whole like it'll be interesting. You know, you've got some of the best players in the world all in that group. Now, I personally, and this is on me for not having looked it up properly, but I don't know much about Spain and coming into this tournament, and I also don't, for some reason, see them as favourites. And I don't know if
Okay,
that's wrong.
interesting. I think that's wrong of you. Yeah, I do.
Okay, fair.
They have a young squad, but quality as well.
Mm.
You've 18-year-old Pedri of Barcelona, who's been one of the few shining stars for Barca this season, and at 18 years old, a really good player. Other than like Slovakia will finish bottom, surely.
Yeah, I think so. I'm happy to put that
Slovakia,
in straight away.
they aren't going to look like much. I think they looked bad against us in the game that we lost, which is just a testament to how bad we've been. Outside of Spain have a good defense now as well. He's Eric Laporte. Sorry, I'm not. He has looked really good alongside Pau Torres of Villarreal, who we got to watch in the Europa League final. What a delight that game was. They're good players with Jordi Alba, on the left. And a couple of players who can play on the right potentially. I'm not sure who Luis Enrique will start. And then youth going forward, I expect to see Ferran Torres have a decent enough tournament. And I think Spain should have enough about them, enough almost experience about the park to just carry them through. Because you look at the other teams there, the other two teams are effectively just strikers.
Yep.
There's Zlatan and Lewandowski.
Zlatan's not even playing.
Is he not? I thought he got a recall to the Euros.
I thought he got injured. Did he not?
Oh, maybe he got injured. I'm not sure actually. He definitely got recalled to the squad, but I'm not sure if he's injured or not. Actually, it's my bad. Let me see.
He's not playing.
Oh well, that's bad. Isaac. Shout out to Isaac on Jum MCC plays. But for Sweden, Isaac is a good player as up front. He's had a good season this year. But I still can't see much from Sweden. I would expect Lewandowski to pull them through and get a second place finish.
And look, Poland also aren't massively inspiring performance-wise.
No,
they kind of look to get the ball to Lewandowski and see if he can score a goal. We gave them a really decent game at the 2016 Euros, and they didn't look like much. I think when I said favourites for Spain, I thought they would win the group. But I think you're right. I think it'll be Spain and then Poland, and then actually it could be closer between Sweden and Slovakia than we think.
Although I have seen a few different people touting Sweden to be one of the potential, dark horses in the Euros. They haven't done well in Nations League, but apparently defensively they seem to be all right. I don't know too much about them. No, I don't agree with these people. To be fair, I think Poland have the best striker in the world in their team.
Yeah,
and whether the rest of the team's that good or not, he makes all the difference. He's the one who gets the chances, and we've seen for Bayern countless times he will score from absolutely nowhere.
Yep.
Like he'll get it on the edge of the box when there's 4 defenders in front of him, and he'll find the bottom left corner because he knows where the goal is.
Yeah.
He's a good player. He reminds me of myself. No, I'm joking.
He reminds me of you as well. So
that's nice.
Same wavelength.
So true.
Finally, we're in the group of death.
Oh my days. Per Hungary.
But you see, you say that, but then in my head I'm going, what if Hungary managed to get a win against one of these teams and then they draw, and then Hungary finished third?
They finished bottom.
Straight away?
Yeah, 100%. to bet against either of those other three teams. Who
Just
a lot of
them.
people are saying Portugal or France will win the whole thing.
I think England have a real chance, but we'll talk about that later on.
We
So
will.
anyway,
A lot of people are
for people,
saying those two win the whole thing.
yeah.
So to say either of those finish below Hungary is probably ridiculous. Look,
Well,
France haven't been great in World Cup qualifying.
I was thinking more of the perspective of those big teams are all playing each other. What if Hungary steal a win against a weakened one of the teams and then actually end up finishing above one of them? Because there's just so
Yeah,
many good teams in that group. But obviously, if you're going to go predictions, Hungary go bottom. For people who aren't aware, Group F is Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary. Right, so it's like three of the best teams in the world in the same group, which means that anytime there's a match week or a game week, my Wi-Fi just cut out there. Um,
yeah. I wasn't
I
sure
should
if it was you or me, so
that was
that will
me.
be an enjoyable, confused look on my face as I wait.
Nice. So I'll repeat that because it might have been lost. So every match week, there's going to be a really, really important game in this group between two of the best teams in the world, and we have the
Yeah,
difficult job of deciding what order we put Portugal, France, and Germany because it's going to be so difficult. This is the most difficult decision potentially we have to make in the entire thing.
yeah. I I hate Portugal personally, but I do think they'll do very well. Like Ronaldo loves the Euros. Diogo Jota's fun. You know, Bernardo Silva is a league winner. Andre Silva, backup striker, has been playing really well. João Felix is an exciting young player. And then they've got the B-Tech Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. They're an exciting team with a good squad. And I think they finish either first or second.
I agree.
I'd, I'd love for them not to, I'm not going to lie. It's
Mm,
really hard to write off Germany, but
I
Germany are
know.
12th in the world at the moment. You know, they're not in their heyday. Or Love, the manager,
Yogi
is
Löw.
leaving. He's
Yep.
leaving after this tournament. So will he want to go out to the bang? Absolutely. But will he be able to achieve it? Maybe not.
My first reaction was Germany third.
Okay.
Um,
I think that's fair.
because I think obviously France are the current world champions, so you can't really go against them. They do have some unbelievable players in that squad. So for me, I think Germany go third, and then we have the Portugal France debate.
Yeah,
Um, this is so difficult because I was going to say it doesn't matter. It does matter because it matters for the knockout games,
it does.
and so this is so difficult. In a game between Portugal and France, who do you think wins? Well, I mean, I think it's going to be. I think it would be a draw. But who do you think will perform better?
I think France. Even when
Yeah,
Portugal won the Euros, they didn't play necessarily that well.
yeah, Mikey's with us as well. Not hard to see past France. I'm,
France just have
I'm,
a quality squad.
yeah. Kante, Mbappe, Pogba,
Nah, don't put Pogba in the
Benzema's
same
been
conversation, please. Don't you dare
pardon?
put Paul Pogba in the same conversation as Kante and Mbappe. Pogba has been an absolute fraud this season.
He's still world class though.
I don't agree.
Okay,
I would rather have Mason Mount in my team than Paul Pogba.
fair. That's
And
fair.
I wouldn't call Mason Mount world class.
Okay, that's grand
Mason
though.
Mason Mount's very good. I was having this debate with my brother the other day because we were chatting about this. I just Pogba has not been the same player he was at Juventus, and he's shown glimpses of it at times, but just lacks
Mm.
consistency. And I think
He plays his
he
best
always
stuff
get.
for France though.
Sorry,
He plays his best stuff for France though.
he does, but I don't know. I'd rather play Kante, Tolisso, and Rabiot. I think with Paul Pogba being a backup, but he has had a better season. But has anybody really mentioned Pogba all season? No, not at all.
He didn't feature in either of our team of the seasons. If you haven't watched that
Right.
video or listened to the podcast, go back and listen to that now.
He wasn't even an
Apple,
option, you know. He wasn't even an option.
wasn't even
Um,
mentioned.
but we've picked our 6 group finishes now.
Oh, you want me to go through them again one more time, just for people to refresh everyone, for podcast listeners even, just to refresh them what we'd gone for?
Absolutely.
So, Group A, we went Italy first, Turkey second, Switzerland third, and Wales fourth. Group B, we went Belgium first, Denmark second, Russia third, and Finland fourth. Group C, we went for Netherlands first, Austria second, North Macedonia third, and Ukraine fourth. Group D, England first, Croatia second, Scotland third, and Czech Republic fourth. Group E, Spain first, Poland second, Sweden third, and Slovakia fourth. And finally, Group F, France first, Portugal second, Germany third, and Hungary fourth. If you disagree, let us know. Write in. Let us, get your messages in. Let us know if you disagree with us. We would love to hear from you, of course. But now our job is to pick the 4 best third place teams, because the Euros obviously work in that you have a far greater chance of getting knockouts than you do of actually going home after the group stages. And I'm just going to go very, very quickly and pick Germany straight away as the
I
best third place
disagree.
team.
I disagree
Oh my.
because I think they'll win one game and that's it.
Yeah, but that's all you need. Northern Ireland only won one game and they got through.
Yeah, but I would back any of these other teams to potentially get a win and maybe a draw too.
Oh, I think Germany have to go through.
But they're playing against Portugal and France. You look at the likes of Russia. You back them to get a win against Finland and maybe a draw against Denmark or Belgium.
This is so difficult.
More than you would back Germany to get anything against Portugal or France. As good as Germany are at times, I don't think I think you're right in thinking that they should, but in reality, their group is the hardest.
But it's also the easiest to get a win. Like Hungary are
Well,
not
Germany
great.
lost to my beloved North Macedonia just the other month. I think Sweden are more likely than Germany. That would be they would be my first pick. I think would be Sweden.
So I was thinking, based on the conversation that we had, that do you remember we really struggled with? Let me think of the groups again. We thought that Switzerland and Russia could potentially be tight as well as to who we pick
Yeah,
for those. I would be comfortable to put Switzerland as one of the 4 best third place teams as well.
yeah.
Just based on their group.
As long as you're putting North Macedonia through.
No, I
Really?
don't think I am.
But we've got them to finish third. That means they're probably going to win a game.
Not necessarily.
I think they would. I think they will.
So you would put North Macedonia through over Germany?
Just based on nothing to do with the teams, like in general. It's to do with where they are in the tournament.
See, because I think Scotland go above North Macedonia.
I think Scotland will beat Czech. Scotland might beat Czech Republic. They might not as well. This is actually really tough, isn't it?
Really difficult. Really difficult.
I think we should probably put Germany through. I don't really want to, but we probably should.
No, we don't have to, because we could go with that logic that you've, and I kind of agree with you to an extent. We can go with the logic of it's going to be very difficult for them to get points in the other games.
Yeah.
They might not need to. Well, that is something I want to put out there, that they might not need to. They might really need the one win, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I said earlier on that I could see Scotland beating Czech Republic and getting a draw in either the Croatia or England game.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think
Scotland are deep. Like I don't think Russia are going to do it. So I think it then becomes 4 of the other 5. And I want to put North Macedonia through. But
they could get points against Austria.
Austria and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Austria and Ukraine, I backed them to get something. Almost more than I backed Switzerland against Turkey and Wales. Because I could see Wales, even getting a draw.
Oh, this is a nightmare. This is the most difficult prediction I think I've ever had to think about, because I'm looking at the teams we have there, and that's a really good third place lineup.
If it's me, I'm picking the bottom 4.
Okay. Interesting. So you would go
I would
This?
go North Macedonia, Scotland, Sweden, and Germany.
Oh,
I've made a few of the decisions so far. So if you want to take North Macedonia out and put Switzerland in, that's fair enough.
I think that's personally what I would do because I think Switzerland could get a result against Turkey, like a draw against
Okay,
Turkey.
do it, do it. Take North Macedonia out, but when North Macedonia win the Euros, I'll be laughing.
That's fine. I'll just delete my page,
Great,
and
yeah, perfect. There's a
I'll be
bet.
grand.
If North Macedonia win the Euros, StattoJoe is no more.
No more. It'll actually be rebranded to StattoJoe Luke, and you'll rob the page, and I'll not be involved.
I'm actually
Um,
all right without that. I think we'll pass it on to Mikey or something. It's fine.
StattoJoe Baggy works just as well. Yeah, we'll lock that in. So for
Great.
podcast listeners, we've decided upon our four best third place teams to go into the last 16 are going to be Switzerland, Scotland, Sweden, and Germany. So we've got a pretty strong last 16 lineup. Let's get straight into the knockout stage. Here we go.
This is
Okay,
10.
first game of the round of 16. Belgium versus Sweden. Who
Belgium.
wins that game?
Belgium wins that game.
Belgium win that game. That's an easy one. I don't think we have to debate on that.
No.
Belgium. Italy versus Austria. Italy.
Italy win. Italy win that game.
My days. France versus Switzerland.
France win that game. Yeah.
Croatia, Poland. Well, this is a tighter game.
That is a tighter game. Oh, I really don't know. Joe, I'm going to do something really unprofessional here, and I can't think straight because I really need to pee. So I'm
Okay.
going to go disappear and pee so you can talk them through the rest of these, or even just that game while I
I'll
do
talk
that.
to that game. Okay, so Croatia, Poland's going to be a really interesting one, mainly because Croatia are not the same team that they were at the 2018 World Cup, and Poland probably have a better reputation than they deserve, in my opinion, purely based on Lewandowski. We saw 2016 Euros, I mentioned this earlier on. Northern Ireland played Poland, and really Poland didn't do much. They got that one goal, and that was about it. And we mentioned earlier, the Croatia really got further on than they probably deserved. In the World Cup, they should never have beaten England, and that showed in the World Cup final. They were totally outclassed. For me personally, I think Croatia would win this game. But it's one of those ones that's kind of difficult to know. You know, it could go either way. Honestly, I could toss a coin and give you the answer. But personally, for me, I think I would go Croatia. I don't know. I don't think Luke would disagree with that, to be honest. I think putting Croatia through seems like the most logically sound thing to be doing, which would also set up a really interesting quarterfinal between France and Croatia, which of course is a rerun of the World Cup final. So I've locked in Croatia. Luke, I said I didn't think you'd disagree with me on that, to be honest.
No, I don't think I will disagree with you on that either.
Okay, so we move on to the next game. Spain, Scotland. Not a difficult one for me. That's Spain every day of the week, really.
It is.
Sweet. Spain, England, Portugal. This is the issue. England have to play the runners-up of Group F. Okay,
Yeah.
so even though England are one of the favourites, England are going to have a horrendous run. England play Portugal. Portugal win, in my opinion.
I don't think it's clear cut. I think England, if they have a full strength squad, will do well to nullify the attack. Attacking wise, I also back Harry Kane. But it's really not an easy game at all to predict, oh my word. Oh, I want to say England because you know it's coming home and all that.
Yeah.
Is it sensible? Probably not.
Although is this game at Wembley as well? Let me just check that. Last 16 Euro locations.
It's in Wembley, yeah.
Okay, so if that comes at Wembley, that could have an impact. In fact, that could have a massive impact.
Yeah. I think because of Wembley, that swings it towards England.
Oh, I'm happy to go with England because I would like to see England do well.
Yeah.
It is.
Do we just flip a coin?
Let's go England. Let's go England. Let's go England.
It's coming
But,
home, folks.
but be very aware that also it could very easily be Portugal. Netherlands, Germany. That's freak me. These last 16 games are unreal. Apart from that last one, but
That last one will be good as well.
Netherlands, Germany. What are your thoughts?
I think Germany probably have enough to do it. I think
Yep.
they've got a more complete squad than the Netherlands.
Isn't it mad that that's Netherlands are the first place team in this game and Germany are the third place team?
Yeah, it is
you
nuts.
know,
Should be North Macedonia, but it's fine.
so we're saying Germany for that, and then Turkey, Denmark.
It's two informed teams.
Yeah.
At the moment, might not be at the time. I would want to go with Denmark because I think again they have a slightly more complete squad.
Yep.
Than Turkey do.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would go Denmark as well personally.
Nice.
For all the reasons we spoke about before. So we're going to send Denmark through the quarterfinals, and now we're on to the quarterfinals. Our first game. These quarterfinals are nuts, by the way.
They
Belgium.
are so exciting.
Belgium versus Italy. Oh my days! I can't even call that.
I think Belgium have enough to nip it.
Oh,
Italy haven't
lost 23 games.
No, they haven't. But Belgium have a decent enough attack, and they play good football. I just don't see Italy. No, Belgium's defense is not that good.
Oh my days! This is crazy.
The inner turmoil. There's so much like despair in my heart right now because I have no idea. I still think you can't look past Belgium in this one.
I was going to hover the mouse over Belgium, to be honest. I do think, I think, do it. Belgium locked in. France, Croatia.
I don't think that's a very difficult one. I think France will absolutely run away. Croatia will obviously want to prove them wrong.
Yeah,
but they won't. They won't.
No, I don't think. No, I think France win that game. Spain, England.
I think England's experience will come through in this game if they make it to this game. If both teams make it to this game, that is. I think England's experience, Spain don't have any Real Madrid players. They have a few Barca players. Most of their players are coming from lower down teams than they usually would. A few more Man City players and things like that. But I do think England. Yeah, I think England have enough to pit the inexperience of Spain. Like one of Spain's main attacking threats is Adama Traore. Frig off.
I knew that was going to come up at some stage.
I hate Adama Traore.
Oh, amazing. Mikey said there England have a nightmare run. England really do, but I think that would they get to a semi-final or a final? I think that would be massive. I think that would be a really big run for them to have beaten all those teams. I think it really cements them as one of the best teams in Europe if they do that. But they need to be convincing. What they don't have really that they had this year, they had the World Cup was the World Cup. They had Tunisia and someone else, and they scraped through against them, and then they got to the knockout stages. They don't have that luxury. There isn't really a bad team in their group. Yes, Czech Republic aren't great. Yes, Scotland aren't exactly amazing. They'll turn up. It's England. Everybody turns up against England.
I would like to see England smack Scotland 7-0, but yeah, that's another. I like Scotland all the same, but they are rubbish. But I do think England come through this game against Spain.
Yeah.
Close. It'll be close, but England will.
Now, Germany Denmark for me does have the potential for an upset.
I would agree. I would back Denmark.
A lot of people see that, and they as Mikey said, World Cup England lost to anyone decent. And that's the way it was. But I think this squad now just have something. They beat Belgium in the Nations League. They've beaten big teams since.
Yeah,
I know
that's
they bottled the knockouts of the Nations League, but they're I think they're a far more complete squad now.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. The World Cup was almost their first ever real test,
Yep.
and they showed they got the semi-finals, which isn't easy. It doesn't matter who you play. To get the
Nope.
semi-finals of anything is impressive.
Mhm.
And I think now they've got more experience and more mature heads on them. Although in saying that, the England Spain game would be in Baku, which would be
Nice.
not helpful for anyone. Um, this game's in Rome, Germany, Denmark. Um, I I want to back Denmark.
I kind of want to put in Denmark just for the underdog story. I do think again I've said it. I think I've said it about 800 times this stream, but Denmark have a far better squad than you guys realize.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't realize just how good Denmark are, and I think that in a quarter final where, let's be real, Germany are used to getting to quarterfinals for fun. If you're a team that isn't used to quarterfinals and you reach it, there's an extra motivation there to keep going. And I could very easily see Denmark getting a 1-0 surprise victory against Germany and getting into the semis. And I don't think that's an unrealistic guess, to be perfectly
yeah.
honest.
Denmark
Um,
will be thinking, if North Macedonia can do it, we can,
yeah, exactly. And that's what I
and they'll
think when
give
I
it a
wake up
go.
in the morning as well. That's what I think when I wake up in the morning.
Me
If
too.
North
It's a good
Macedonia
motor
can
to
do it,
have.
I can do it.
It's a great
But
motor to have. Let's put
yeah,
Denmark through.
yeah,
Let's do
I
it.
think so. Let's do it. But because I think as well, you know, we spoke about kind of Germany struggling in their not struggling in their group. Anybody was struggling in that group, but just that they would finish third. I think that you know Denmark could cause me surprise, and I would be all for it. I would love to see it, to be perfectly honest. Then we move to the semi-finals.
Both taking place at Wembley.
Yep, Belgium, France. Now,
This is
who's
where
the
I think
flip?
Belgium crumble.
Well, we did see we have seen Belgium kind of crumble before. Um, Hal Robson Canu, but I think I do think this French team will have so much confidence.
Yeah,
Um,
but they have been average in World Cup qualifying.
yeah, so Mikey just wanted to clarify that the four best third place teams go through. Yeah, yeah, they do, and we chose for our ones just to recap. We
Switzerland,
chose Sweden, Switzerland, Germany,
Scotland,
and
Scotland.
Scotland. That's who we choose for our four best third place teams.
Yeah,
Um,
I think France have won the World Cup together. They
yep.
play with a slightly higher confidence and competence than a Belgium team who have been touted as the golden generation now for almost 6 years and haven't ever delivered anything past bronze.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Belgium because this is going to be the last major tournament realistically they have to with this full golden generation, or do you think they will
Yeah.
still have that same squad for the 2022 World Cup?
I think their squad will be largely similar because it is only
Yeah,
next year. It's
yeah, true.
it's
Next is it
it's
next
weird.
winter?
Um,
Is it 18
no,
months?
yes,
Interesting. That'll be
yeah,
weird for the Premier League season and everything. Um,
yeah. Well,
but yeah, I would go France in that game, to be honest. I just think they have Belgium have a great midfield. It's a wee bit like the England thing, right? England have got more right backs than I have friends, but um, Bel- Belgium Belgium have like loads of central midfielders, and then they've got a couple of dodgy positions.
yeah,
You're talking centre backs. They're not really that. They're not especially solid at the back.
yeah.
France just seem to have a really complete squad.
They do.
Um,
Didier
so
Deschamps deserves a lot of credit. He's picked a very complete squad with really good players everywhere. There are a few players who will feel hard done by, but you're right. Belgium have a whole host of central midfielders who are very good, would make it into most national teams, but then they've got Christian Benteke. You know,
Yeah,
Lukaku obviously.
we'll go France.
Lukaku obviously is good, but I think we should go for France.
And then England, Denmark. For me, because it's at Wembley, because they've already lost the semi-final in the World Cup, I think England would have to win this game. I think it would be a massive achievement for Denmark to even get this far in the first place. But I think England, for me, have to win this game. That's just my opinion. If this was the semi-final, I think England would win.
I think this would be almost the easiest of their knockout games yet.
Yep.
Which is strange, and it'll be in the semi-finals. I think Denmark will have done really well, and my heart wants me to pick Denmark. My heart wants to choose them because I love them so dearly. But I think England, you look at the Denmark squad and you see the England squad, and almost every position, apart from goalkeeper, you have an upgrade in the England squad.
Yep. Agreed.
And I think if they've both got to this stage, they'll both be confident. They'll both have played well. I think England are probably the choice.
Yep. Happy to go with England.
I almost just want to stop the stream now, Joe. I honestly don't want to pick between France and England because if we pick England, we just look like England fanboys. We pick France, my heart breaks.
This is the thing. It actually did. I couldn't have told you who was going to win. If someone said to me, "Who do you think's going to win the Euros?" My answer every time has been, "I don't know. It could be any one of 4 or 5 teams."
Yeah.
Right. So this knockout system has it put down to France England. Right. My original reaction straight away is the final at Wembley as well. I think it might be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Right. For me, I still think France win this game. And I think it's because England just have not been at a major final. It was 1966 the last time. I think it might have been.
Probably.
So these players are not used to playing international competition finals. France won the last one, and were they in the final of Portugal 2016 Euros as well?
Yeah.
So these French players have experience. My instant reaction is France. That's my first reaction.
It's mine too, as well. That's the thing. France are solid. They're a really good team. They have a lot of good players, and it's hard to look past them, especially for England, who I think will have done incredibly well to get here. But I can't see them going much further.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me that means we have predicted that our Euro 2020 winners will be France. I'm going to see what happens in the next 4 to 5 weeks. The plan is, as we wrap up the show, we'll be covering a lot of the Euros content. I will be trying to do posts every day for you guys. We're back. Everything's done. I can focus more on the page. Tomorrow, I will set up a Euro Fantasy Tape group for everybody to join in. If you want to do that predictions yourself, I will also share the link for that tomorrow.
Should note as well, Joe, that England have just beaten Romania 1-0 in the most convincing of performances you'll ever see. To be fair, they did start James Ward-Prowse, who's not going to be playing, and didn't start Kane. So I think those are good signs that their reserve team is able to do this.
As Mikey quite rightly points out, in this simulated Euro tournament that we predicted, England have a far tougher run than France. France face Switzerland and Croatia before they face Belgium. England face Portugal, Spain, and then Denmark. So, Mikey, you're quite right. England's run is probably a lot tougher than France's is. Obviously, France have the really difficult group stage, but once they get out of that, then they almost having that difficult group means that their knockout games are always going to be easier anyway, because or it'll certainly be less of a daunting task because they'll already have played teams who are kind of at that level. Tomorrow, my plan is tomorrow around dinner time, I'm going to post up the link to this so you guys can get involved. You can send me your predictions, let me know what you think, and also the fantasy. I'll get that set up as well because now that I'm back from exams, I first off feel like I need to apologise because I haven't been doing anything on the page, and it's been really difficult. I'm going to put a short video up on the Facebook page explaining what the plan is, just to let you guys in the know. But I am going to work my socks off now on this page. We're going to give you so much content. I'll be making clips from the show so that you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't have the chance to. If you do want to listen, we have the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Google. We have just recorded before the show. We recorded our intro and outro with bonus content for you podcast listeners. Maybe in time I'll get to clipping some of those as well, so you guys can see what you miss out on if you don't listen to the audio version. There's something extra there for you. But look, it's been a real pleasure. I actually had a really good time with this. This was great fun. Something a bit different. I loved it.
Yeah. My heart tells me North Macedonia against Denmark in the final.
Right, Luke is just North Macedonia, Denmark. I'm going to save that for the whenever we're talking about the after your final. That video will be saved.
I can't wait to celebrate.
Again.
Cannot wait to celebrate a Danish victory at Euro 2021 with North Macedonia. Brilliantly finishing second. Fair play to them. They've done well to make it the whole way to the final, usurping the likes of Belgium and France on the way. Yeah, well done, North Macedonia.
But yes, it's been a real pleasure. This was something a bit different. Just want to let you know that we won't be back until next Sunday. We're taking a break on Wednesday.
Wow.
It's been a hectic few weeks for us podcast wise, and I'm a bit tired after uni and everything. And yeah, Mikey's backing you. The same
yes,
the final.
Thanks, Mikey. Thank you. I think the fans would hate to see it, but they'd love to see it at the same time.
Yeah. But we'll be back next Sunday. Next Sunday will be our first roundup show of the opening weekend of fixtures. I am honestly so excited. It's going to be class. It's nice that Northern Ireland are the only home nations team from the UK, obviously excluding the Republic of Ireland, not in the Euros. But sure, that's another story for another time. But yes, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next Sunday.
See you then. Bye.